So the first thing I'm going to do is fix up this mains wiring, and then I'm going to resolder that and resolder that. Both examples of not using a hot enough soldering iron. The first thing I need to do is correct this mains wiring, because this is currently deadly. You cannot have the fuse on the neutral line. The neutral line is effectively a return line. So if that fuse blows because of some high current draw in here, then think about it. We've still got the active going to the switch, and then potentially going into the transformer, and then potentially going onto this circuit before coming out of the neutral. So we need to have the active going to the fuse very first off. And take the fuse out. It's acting like a bit of a heat sink. Go in there now. Let's give it a bit of a fresh solder. Let's lift this transformer line. I like to save these offcuts of especially the cloth covered wire from other jobs that I've done, because then it lets me get in a perfectly matched bit of wiring. This is pushback wiring, so called because you can push it back to expose the wire. Let me go on the switch now. Might just remove some of this old solder. There we go. Well, looks like it was done in the fender factory. I'll just straighten that little kink there a bit. I reckon Leo would give me a nod for that. Now, while I've got the fuse out, let me just check it. In America, with 110, 120 volts, should be a 3 amp fuse. So in Australia, being double the voltage, that needs to be 1.5. And as I thought, you probably can't see it, but that's a 3 amp fuse. So offering the amp minimal protection. Let's get a 1.5 amp fuse, size little fuse, 1.5. Perfect. Good quality fuse of the right value. In fact, I might even put a little label on that so the next person who changes a fuse will know the right value. and not some stupid value that was right for America and yet so wrong for Australia. Let me just give that a little bit more solder here. That looks better. Right, now, so we've got the active going to the back of the fuse first, which is the right way to go, then from the fuse to the switch, from the switch to the transformer. Now the neutral needs to go straight to the transformer, so I can either solder these together like that with some heat shrink, or I can use one of the tabs on this ground switch now unused. So this side of the switch is not used, so I've decided I'm going to put both of these neutral connections there. I was just listening to Peter Frampton's version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. What a magnificent, tasty player he is. Just gorgeous. I'd play you some now, only, you know, there'd be some sort of YouTube strike put against me. But just YouTube it. Peter Frampton, YouTube or Spotify or YouTube, wherever you find it. Peter Frampton, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Just gorgeous. Well, what I might do is just give him a bit more wire length. And instead of going through the hole on the switch, we'll go around that switch tab, which will just give us a bit more mechanical support. I just don't want to, you know, tack solder it onto the tab, because we're just asking too much of the solder. Now here is the perfect example of why I am so pedantic about having the capacitors with the values facing upwards. I can see that these, well, that one's 22, and seeing as the same physical size and brand, I'm assuming these are all 22 microfarad caps. So we've got a 10 microfarad there just out of shot there, which would be a fair substitution for the 8. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 16s. 1, 2, 3, 4 16s. He's taken them up to 22. I'm fine with that. This one, I assume, is going to be our bias capacitor. So 100 microfarad at 25 volts. Can I see what it is? I can't. So I'm now going to have to go to the extra step of unsoldering this, so I can see that he's put the right value in, or an acceptable value. It doesn't have to be exactly the same value, but it just seems quite a large capacitor. Right, now what is it? It's 100 microfarad at 160 volts. And it needs to be 100 microfarad at 20 volts. I'm totally fine with that. What brand is it? Nichicon. That's a good brand of capacitor. Now, if you had just done it right in the first place, like face them up, then we wouldn't have had to go to that. Not a huge amount of trouble, but let's do it right the first time, fellas. These caps have got legs bent all over the place. I don't really want to start unsoldering them, bending them around. If I can just straighten them up a bit. Definitely better than it was in terms of those capacitor legs being straight, not too badly kinked. Do this one over here, which is just out of your sight. This little capacitor here to stop pops and crackles on your standby switch was lengthened by a little bit of wire, just asking to break off and cause problems. So when it's so easy to do a job right, it just boggles the mind as to why people just try and find a shortcut. I suspect because you didn't have a soldering iron hot enough to melt the solder onto the chassis. With a little IPA. Voila! That's how it should be done. Now I've just got those ground wires clamped in there, so I'm not chasing them around. And I'll just hit this with the super hot iron. And that'll do me just fine. So this solder flips off because we need it to make for a good joint, but we don't need it to stay there because it actually causes oxidation itself. So we'll get rid of that. Right, so this works anyway. We can do it now, we'll get rid of the flux and has really affected their longevity. Alright, two much better looking joints there and there. We've got the mains wiring legal and safe. I've checked the ESR of the capacitors. They're all okay. Some of them are getting higher, but not high enough for me to go, well, failure is getting close. So I'm going to leave all those in. I straightened up the leads as best I can. Not particularly keen on this fella who's just had a bit tacked on there because it was too short. But where do you go when my direction on this is make sure it's safe, it's reliable, there's no obvious faults. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I will clean the potentiometers, make sure we've got no scratchiness there. I'll clean these input jacks, but generally a bit of IPA with an earbud, or in America I think they're called Q-tips. In Australia we call them earbuds because you can use them for cleaning out your ears. In America they're called Q-tips because I guess they clean out their Qs. Ooh, I think you are going to love the sound of this. You can see why these things are so highly prized and highly sought after. 1956, right? We would have been hearing stuff like now, what have I got this set on? So I've got, I'm in the normal channel, not the bright channel. I've got the volumes on, volume goes up to 12. I'm at about 4.5. And then treble, bass and presence I've all got at 12 o'clock, which is number 6. All right, let's go neck pickup. Volume, let's go about 6. Tone on full. Now I've converted this to a no load pot. You'll find another video where I demonstrated how to do that. And basically when it's on anything other than 10, it'll work like a normal tone pot. But as soon as you put it on 10, I've cut the track so that there is no tone in the circuit at all, no tone pot in the circuit at all, no tone resistor in the circuit at all.
You can see why this amp has made so many hits. It just sounds gorgeous. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please honour me with a like. Put your comments down there, what you liked, what you didn't like. I don't know what there isn't to like, but you never know. I'm going to answer every comment you make, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video.